Hello and welcome to Arnie Shot Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Curse of Compton Grange. The ferry to the Isle of Wight cut through the fog-draped waters, a spectral hush settling over the passengers as they neared the island's shores. Holly Arnold stood at the railing, watching the outline of Compton Grange emerge through the mist, a skeletal silhouette against the twilight sky. The house, forgotten by time, had stood for centuries, a ruin of cracked stone and ivy-choked walls. Its secrets had festered for too long, and now they whispered for release. Holly was no stranger to ghost stories. A journalist with a taste for the macabre, she had spent years chasing legends, but none had called to her quite like the Curse of Compton Grange. Tales of vanished guests, flickering candlelight where none should be, and an unseen presence brushing against sleeping visitors had plagued the estate for generations. The locals spoke of it only in hushed tones, their eyes darting toward the looming hills as if the house itself could hear them. She had been drawn here by a letter in old, yellowed parchment sealed with wax. No name, no return address. Just 3 words: it has begun. The carriage road leading to the Grange was overgrown, brambles clawing at her ankles as she walked. The house loomed ever closer, its Gothic spires tearing into the starless sky. The air smelled of damp earth and decay. As she reached the iron gates, they groaned open without her touch. Inside, the silence was thick, suffocating. Dust motes swirled in the candlelight as Holly stepped across the threshold. The air was colder than the night outside, and the scent of old wood and mildew filled her lungs. She pulled her coat tighter around her shoulders, her heart beat a steady drum against the unnatural stillness. A faint creak echoed from the upper floor. She turned sharply. Nothing but shadows and dust. Yet she felt it, a presence, watching, waiting. The curse, as she had read, was born of betrayal. The Grange had once belonged to the Whitcomb family, whose patriarch, Sir Edgar, had been found hanging from the rafters of the great hall. His wife, Lady Isolde, had vanished the same night, leaving behind only a pool of blood in the master bedroom. Their daughter, Lena, was said to have gone mad, confined to an attic room until her death. It was her voice, the villagers claimed, that could still be heard at night, soft, sorrowful, searching. Holly ventured deeper, her fingers trailing along the dusty banister. The staircase yawned before her, its steps warped with age. She hesitated at the first landing, glancing toward the door at the end of the hall. It was slightly ajar. A whisper slithered through the darkness. She froze. Her breath hitched. The name had been spoken with certainty, with knowing. Light flickered beneath the door. The candle on the table beside her extinguished with a breath of unseen air. She reached for the handle. The door swung open before she could touch it. Inside, the room was untouched by time. A 4-poster bed, its lace curtains pristine. A vanity mirror, unclouded by dust. The air smelled of lavender and something else, something metallic. A girl stood by the window, her nightgown drifting around her like mist. Her face was obscured by a curtain of black hair, her hands trembling at her sides. When she turned, Holly saw the deep gouges in her throat, the dark rivulets staining the white fabric. Lena Whitcomb. The girl opened her mouth, but no words came, only a choked gurgle, a whisper of lost breath. And then the house groaned. The walls shuddered. The floor beneath Holly's feet buckled. The curse was waking. Somewhere deep within the house something else stirred. Something older. Something hungry. The door slammed shut, sealing her inside. The candle on the vanity flickered violently, its flame stretching impossibly tall before vanishing, leaving the room in near darkness. Holly's breath came fast, ragged. She turned, pressing her hands against the door, but it would not budge. Then a sound behind her. A low, shuffling scrape across the wooden floor. Slow. Deliberate. Holly spun around, pressing herself against the door. The girl was gone. The window stood open, sheer curtains fluttering as though disturbed by unseen hands. A whisper closer now, right beside her ear. The voice was raw, wet, as though spoken through a mouthful of water. Holly's pulse thundered in her ears. A sharp, sudden knock rattled the door from the other side. Not one, not two. 3 deliberate knocks, each more forceful than the last. Then silence. A hand brushed her shoulder, ice cold fingers pressing lightly against her skirt. Holly screamed, wrenching the door open and stumbling into the hallway. It was no longer the corridor she had entered before. The wallpaper bled, like rivulets of black oozing down the walls. The floor sagged under her feet as though the wood had turned to flesh. And somewhere, far down the corridor, a slow, rhythmic dragging sound began. The darkness beyond swallowed the light, and the whispering voices grew louder. She had to run, but the house was awake now, and it had no intention of letting her leave. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.